104K BTC. It's been a choppy day. These altcoins have been bleeding out. Who's got squeaky bum time here? Leading into FOMC. It's a massive day for the markets. Is this sell-off now going to be a bullish result for us? So today, guys, we're talking altcoins. We're talking some setups that I got for you, some absolute bangers. I've also got a new indicator guy in the house. I've dragged him out of chart hackers for us. So we got so much to talk about here. Let's get right into it. Remember, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe, and you know who's here. You obviously know who's here. Rainbow Ray. One day he'll give us the rainbow back. Right now, he's the scalping degen sitting in chart hackers. And here is our next guest. Look at this man. He's in an office with Bitcoin on the roof. It's all going down. He's the army piper. So chart hackers, you've seen this guy in the chats. He's bringing you a setup today on Sui. He's got something on Link as well. And he's going to talk about a couple of other things with us as well. So we got lots going on here. Super exciting day. FOMC. Let's go. And let's check out Banter Bubbles. Bonk is feeling the pain after a nice bounce yesterday. And this thing, look, it's a mixed bag here for a lot of these tokens, but they are getting hammered. WIF is finally in our long zone that I gave you guys yesterday. Are you going to be taking it? That is the question. 2.5 to 2.3. We're talking about WIF today. I've got that chart for you. Then everything looks relatively miserable, unless your name is 𝗙𝗛𝗡𝗅 and virtual. But is this the end? Is this the end of this dip? Are we going to get some kind of reversal? So let's start with BTC. Let's see where we are and what is going on here. So this is BTC sitting on the 2 hour for us. And you can see I've got a couple of pictures here on the chart for you guys. So number one here, these white boxes, I've integrated the liquidity levels here from that liquidation heat map for you guys so that it's easier for you to see. So just talking a little bit to the downside here on BTC, we can see we are currently holding this beautiful rising trend at the moment. So that is looking okay to us so far. After a bit of a rough day at the office, I would say, if you are an altcoin trader, then key levels for me, 102,900 down to 102,500. This whole region looks pretty decent for us if they are going to come and tap that. And then just look, using this liquidity zone here, using Chart Prime, you can see this 100K zone is also interesting to me. So downside levels here, any dips into that zone, looking for some kind of reaction there. And then this 100K, that would be an emergency level for us. Let's say we get some really negative statements during FOMC. Maybe there's a quick sell-off on Bitcoin, something like that. Look out at 100K BTC. That could give us something there. Surprise wick into that zone is interesting. Now, what do we do to the upside? So interesting stuff going on. We do have this liquidity box here. So if they do pump us later tonight, let's not get too euphoric. If they do start pushing us into that zone, let's not get too euphoric until we start blowing through that area. Remember, that is a high liquidity zone. That is where they can grab some shorts and just liquidate or invalidate a couple of shorters in those types of regions. So that is the 105,700, maybe just a little bit higher than that type of region you are going to be watching. So that is pretty much the game plan on BTC on these lower timeframes. Now, FOMC, we know it's a volatile event. We know what they are expecting, but the secret sauce really comes during the speech afterwards, and that is no doubt going to give us some kind of volatility in the market. So one more thing I just want to point out to you guys, you can see Bitcoin settled at 103K earlier today before there was that strong bounce. But don't forget, we do have the CME gap. And I even wrote in here earlier today, I was doing live charting sessions for chart hackers, and I wrote here the CME gap is a problem. Now, is it a problem or not? You can see what's going on here. Bitcoin is holding the top of the CME gap as support currently. That is interesting for us. But let's not forget, they love to come and close the CME gap. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do try and wick us to 102,100. Don't write that off as a possible quick move later on, a quick fill on any bearish statement, something like that. Just be careful in those situations. Airdrop Arcanist just got invalidated on Pengu. Bro, are you leverage trading Pengu already? What is going on there with you guys? Now, we know what will happen with this Pengu, and I think it's just a matter of patience here at the moment. Let all the airdrop people sell their tokens. Let them get rid of it. Then we know we're going to get a big bounce on Pengu at some point. So just be patient there, the Pengu guys. Now, just finishing on BTC. So you've got the CME gap. We understand this could come into play today. We know they love to fill these CME gaps. So just watch that for the time being. Okay, so that is Bitcoin covered. Levels to the upside, levels to the downside. You know what we're looking at. Remember, these zones to the downside, these are scalp long zones. And I was just bitching at Ray now, saying I've missed both of these longs. This was a big zone for me earlier today, 102.900. Missed that one. Missed the sell-off as well. Ray, I'm feeling a bit of FOMO, bro.
The chart hackers got it. The chart hackers got it.
Well, you were busy. I was busy running around, bro. I wasn't in front of my chart. But I think Ray got in there with the guys on his DGen scalping session earlier today. Now, let's talk FOMC. Massive day in the markets. We know it's always exciting. And I love a little bit of red altcoins on an FOMC day. So let's talk what is happening here. And Jesse Cowan says, here's what to know ahead of the FOMC rate decision. Forecast 4.5, previous 4.7. We know that is coming in about 2 hours from now. So look out. The volatility and the fun is happening later. And then he says, the Federal Reserve's December FOMC meeting is set to be a pivotal moment for the markets. Yes, 25% basis point is a foregone conclusion. Recent data showing sticky inflation and resilient economy support the case for pausing rate cuts in 2025. As such, I anticipate the Fed's updated dot plot and economic projections to emphasize fewer and slower rate cuts than previously forecast. Now, is that bullish? I don't know. How's the market going to receive that? So I was looking at the S&P earlier today, and it's not doing too much at the moment, but I suspect a bit later we are going to get a little bit of activity there. So just something to think about here. Might not be as bullish as we had been hoping. Now, Matthew Hyland giving us some FOMC bull source. Okay, he says after the last 2 rate cuts, the total crypto market cap actually moved up. And these are his 2 charts, so you can see what happened both times. This is the FOMC coming in hot here, so looking for some action there. And then Gum says this is a scam dump, the dump that you guys saw earlier today. He says there have been 4 FOMCs in 2024. Every single one of them had the same scam dump. Bitcoin dumped 10% in the 48 hours before all of them. Correct. That is what's been happening. On FOMC day, it recovered the entire move. The market always prices in overly bearish statements and then reverses. So yes, guys, am I feeling bullish at these types of levels on these altcoins? Yes, for a short-term pump, definitely. We've had a sell-off now for 24 hours on these alts. It's been pretty unpleasant, and I'm sure a lot of stops have been hit for some of you guys. But here we are, and if we use history, then we can see we might get some kind of pump later on today. So that is tying in quite nicely with a lot of these altcoins sitting on some interesting levels, and perhaps we're going to get some kind of short-term bounce. And just I wanted to remind you guys about this one from Benjamin Cowan as well. And this was our monthly RSI. So we looked at this one yesterday. I just want to put this here again. So anybody feeling overly bearish here, just take a look at his monthly RSI chart. We can see Bitcoin tops when that monthly hits that range high. So if it topped out now, yes, it would be pretty unusual. You know, the previous times we waited for that range high to be hit on that RSI. So just a little bit of bull source there for you guys. And then tracking BTC on the 3-day. Remember, anyone looking at a bigger picture here, there's nothing to be stressed about. So what the important levels for spot traders, the important levels for, you know, low margin Bitcoin traders, those types of things. The big one is 99K, 99, 100K, anything into there, super bullish for me on BTC. If they do push us lower, 94,600, that's another big one there for us. Now, remember, you get 2 types of traders. You get the spot traders, you get the chillers, the hodlers, then you get the DJs, okay? Now, I know you guys love the lower time frame stuff, and that is what we do for you guys. So I've got some bangers coming in hot for you guys today. Now, let's talk about altcoin traders, because altcoins are fun. And I mean, we know they're all fun and games. The ups are up, the highs are high, the lows are not so good on these altcoins. And then this really, this made me laugh today. I mean, because this is, this is essentially how we like to trade. And the financial advisor put only 3% net worth in Bitcoin. Crypto guys with 3% in Bitcoin, but 97% else. It's all fun and games until these altcoins start falling over, guys. I remind you, it's a roller coaster. You've got to take the bad with the good. Remember, the good is good. We really, really kill it when things are good, but these altcoins can get hurt, and they often don't go according to plan. So Altcoin Sherpa giving you a little bit of bull source here. He says January and December are the best time for alts. Okay, now yesterday we were looking at a tweet where some guy laid out a case for January to May as a good time for alts. So here's another version from Altcoin Sherpa, just giving you guys a little bit of bull source here. So if we do get a slight sell-off here, we are the 18th of December. We are nearly in to January. So I suspect the pain could be close to being over. And then our alt season chart, no changes here, heading straight down. Okay, I'm going to stop looking at this thing until we get it back above 75, because this is disgusting. If you're an altcoin trader and you've been waiting for alt season, well, fuck me. We had 3 days of alt season according to this chart, and now we're back in the middle, in the neutral zone. And you can see these alts are taking strain. They are in the same situation as they were a couple of months back, and we're feeling a little bit smug, not smug, the opposite of smug at the moment. So here is our total 3. This is what we're going to be watching. Big support here for us. You can see we had our rejection from the highs. Remember, total 3 is the entire shitcoin market, excluding ETH and BTC. Okay, so that is what we got. So no changes here. Looking for this ranging play and short-term bounces all day long. We could easily get some kind of short-term bounce here on the total 3. So we're not going to turn euphoric on these altcoins until we start breaking new highs. Remember that, guys. Until we break new highs, we actually in a downtrend here on this total 3, and we need to exercise caution. We need to take profits when we can. And one more note here, BTC dominance. I suspect today is the day we're going to get this dominance pump into our 58.5%. That is what I'm looking for. And this is going to be, hopefully, the final move that puts these alts under pressure on some of these hot zones we're sitting on, and then some kind of rejection on these alts. So that is ideally what I'm looking for. We are very close with these alts sitting on support. Some of them have one more level lower down that we need to look at. But right now, a lot of them are floating in some interesting areas. So I think one more bit of bad news or one negative comment later tonight, we get this pump in dominance, then we get that rejection, and then I suspect some of these alts are going to start tracking higher. Well, if not, I'm going to get rinsed, okay? Because I'm fully loaded up here on a lot of these, on a lot of these alt moves. Okay, so Sol, we touched on Sol yesterday, and Matthew Highland told us why Sol was looking super bearish versus BTC. And I've got the Sol BTC chart, and no changes here for me. I am expecting a short-term reversal. It's imminent for me. Okay, so we are looking for a push here, Sol versus BTC. That is tying in nicely with this dominance, looking for a rejection. And things are, if we look at a couple of these altcoins, I am seeing some kind of short-term moves potentially teeing up for us. So Sol BTC, that is looking good. Now, the first question I wanted to get my guest, Piper, and he's looking for a couple of things for us. One of them is Sui, and the other one is Sol. He's telling us Sol is looking pretty bearish versus USDT. So I want to talk about Sol with him as well and just get his views, because he likes to really gets deep and dark into our chart prime indicators and oscillators here. So I want to just bring him up. Captain, hello, sir. Step into my office.
Welcome. Glad to be here, man. Appreciate you, brother. Interesting what's going on with the FOMC stuff today. A big thing that I do is the macroeconomic side, right? And so if we get the rate cut today, it actually increases the likelihood of rate hikes in 2025 if inflation doesn't come under control. So how the markets will react today to that 25 basis point cut that's very likely coming will be interesting. And plus, what Jerome Powell says 30 minutes later has way more weight than that rate cut. So I'm going to be watching it closely. These charts are looking fun today, let me tell you. So
yeah, I'm really getting pumped for some potential short-term bounces here. If you get a sell-off like this on these alts leading into these events, quite often we get that kind of reaction, even if it's a short-term bounce, a couple of percent here or there. I was interested to hear your views on Sol quickly. Do you have the Sol chart for us? Yeah, and I know you're looking at it from a slightly different perspective.
I do. Let's talk. Let's get on the Sol train. Let's do it. Let's do it. So looking at Sol here on the 4-hour right now, one of the things that I'm watching is I've got some Fibonacci's up here, and one of the levels that I watch is the 88.7. You can see we had a perfect rejection off of it here on 12 December. But if we go ahead and turn on to power, let's flip the power switch on and bring some chart prime on. We also got a rejection off of the dynamic reactor. So we have a bearish dynamic reactor from chart prime right now in the market oracle. Line that up. We also have a nice trend line coming up, giving us a little squeeze there. That's off of the auto trend lines in the market dynamics pro set. So I am seeing that we do have a little bit of support here, but I'm actually looking for us to go lower. And I'm going to give everyone a teaser here. This is something that's coming to the chart prime kit here at the first of the year, and this is called the 3D trend. Yeah, it's I love this indicator. One of the really cool things about it is that once it flips into a bearish setup, I've got my color set on watermelon. I like my pink and green. It pops a little bit on screen, but you can see every time that we've come into the cloud, even up here on this big wick that we had here that popped up on 5 December and hit $247, it was still at the edge of the stratosphere on this cloud where it starts to thin out. This has been rejection for us over and over. And as long as this trend is still doing this wave down, I cannot be bullish on SOL. And so I have to start looking for the support levels that are in play. If we throw this on here, like I said, on the Fibonacci's, we do have the 78.6%. That's coming in for us at about 206 right now. But I'm actually watching for this area down here, this zone down here for the fair value gap, which if I pull this over, I do want to show you, I have a fixed range volume profile. This is a free tool. You can use it right here. Just fixed range volume profile. This is being pulled from 3 October to current. Basically this whole upside move that we've had here, pulling that in. We've lost the point of control, guys. This volume node here is where all of that point of control was at for this entire range of price action. So losing that, and what I'm seeing here on the 3D trend, if we lose this 78.6% here on the fibs, we are likely going to be heading down to that value area low on here, which would put us right in line with the golden pocket at the 0.66618 range here. So I'm going to go ahead and just throw this on here. What I'm going to see on
straight
SOL
to zero.
Yeah, and then we go straight to zero. But I'm going to be watching this area down here for a support zone. Just drop this on here, and now we got a support box. This is going to be a key area, in my opinion, and that's coming all the way down to $179, $180 here, Dylan.
Okay. So let's before we kill people, hold on. Before we end people's days, okay? Remember, this stuff doesn't necessarily happen in a straight line. Okay, so what we know the weeklies are turning over on a lot of these altcoins. We know the dailies are pushing towards the lows, but they're not locked in yet. What we do know is shorter time frame. Yes, there might be some short-term bounces along the way. So it would be highly unlikely that we go in a straight line down to those levels. So don't panic just yet. There's going to be a lot of fun in the way. So, okay, continue before you end.
Let me clarify. I'm a swing trader, so I look for the big moves.
Yes.
As far as scalp trading, yes, absolutely. There are, like right now, this trend line that I was just talking about, if you're looking for the scalp, you do have a support line here. I mean, that would be an entry at like 214. Just keep in mind, we have a fair value gap here coming off of Chart Prime's Market Dynamics Pro that's coming in right here. So we have a fair value gap. We have good support. Looking at this from a swing or from a scalp perspective, yeah, we could easily get a bounce off of this. The news comes in today and returns us right back to $231 on that Fibonacci. But on the higher time frame, if we're looking at this from a scalp perspective, I would be more interested right now in a long for scalping. I would be more interested in a short for swings, or possibly even just pausing for a second, taking a deep breath and looking for that good entry down there, that zone that I was talking about at the bottom there. So
what we're seeing here, and this has obviously been the concern that we've been talking about lately, and we've seen that total 3 chart also rejecting at those highs. There might be a period of consolidation here on some of these alts. We can't write that off as not a probability that we do bleed lower in between we get these bounces. So just interesting perspective here from the Piper. Now he's also got a SUI setup, and you've got a link setup. We're going to talk about that in a couple of minutes, because I'm sitting in a SUI trade, and I said I was leveraged to the tit earlier, and I was looking for a pop, and I'm hoping your setup is going to send us higher. So we're going to bring him back on in a couple of minutes. We're going to talk about SUI and things like that. And just to finish on SOL quickly, so just my chart hasn't changed. Okay, we understand all those levels and things like that we can see, but just from my perspective here, same story. Easy to come and see some lows here on SOL. 196 is a zone. We got that VWAP at 190. There's a lot going on here to the downside, and if we just play that simple game, we have to just be honest with ourselves. This could easily just be playing out for us. A simple little game here, following the channel down. As long as we are realistic with what we are looking at. Remember, where do we turn super bullish again? Up there. Okay, that is where we get super bullish on SOL, and right now we wait for that. Okay, and this is the higher time frame stuff, but it doesn't mean we can't get a degen play. Okay, and here is the SOL degen play for the FOMC news tonight. Okay, so that is what I'm looking at here. You can see we've had a big sell-off on Sol, and Piper just gave you that rising trend, and you can see we got a couple of things in this area. So something for you guys to consider, something for you guys to look at. 213 down to 210, even somewhere in that zone for me could be a nice little scalp play later on today, or leading in to this FOMC. I mean, the market might start getting some energy in the next hour or so and start pushing. And remember the rules. If it starts dumping leading into this FOMC, that actually makes me a little bit more bullish. So you just got to be prepped and ready for when we do get that reversal. But right now, reversal zones for me on Sol, 213, 211, those type of areas. Look how it ties into this major support here as well. You can see these are 8-hour candles holding the fort here for us at that 214 level. So just something like that, anything like that for me, we could get a short-term pop on Sol, 222, 230. Those are sort of the max levels that I'm looking at if we do get some kind of pump. And I do think if we get a push here on the markets, Piper, we could probably look to sell a couple of these here. There might be a couple of short opportunities later on, especially if we get some aggressive moves.
Yep. One of the one thing that I am watching closely on Sol is on the volume matrix on the Chart Prime Oscillator Pro Plus. The volume is starting to slow down on the very bottom wave of that. So keep that in mind until we want to see that start to come back up, also in line with what we're seeing on price action. If not, low volume on price moving up typically is manipulation to grab some money from people that get bullish when they shouldn't be bullish yet. So keep an eye on it.
Remember the bigger picture, guys. Always bigger picture. Okay, Piper, I'm bringing you back on in a couple of minutes. I got so many charts to smash through here. And guys, if you're enjoying our guest, okay, hit the likes there. Just let him know, or let us know in the comments if you're enjoying his vibe. And obviously, Chart Hackers, he's always in the Chart Hackers, and he does a Friday Zoom session for the Chart Hackers as well, where he talks about all these things. You might learn a couple of things from him that you're not seeing on the show from me. So could be an interesting play there for you guys. Okay, so Sol, you've got a scalp zone there for Solana. Let's talk AVAX. Guys, I'm fucking long AVAX here. And it just feels like it needs to be. Okay, so I'm long on 2 accounts at the moment on AVAX. So you can see the situation. I've got my quantum reactor here. I've pulled the 618 fib from the absolute lows on the 9th of December. You can see we're sitting in a hot zone here. This is the 4-hour support, quantum reactor, 618. And what I'm expecting here is some kind of short-term bounce on AVAX. Now, I'm not turning moon bullish, but you can see my oscillator at the lows is starting to print some kind of reversal. Not saying that we can't get some kind of double bottom here on the oscillator or some kind of divergence, but we are looking at something like that. I can see my money flow is starting to try and just trend a little bit higher as well. So AVAX loaded up along here, okay? And I'm looking for a short-term bounce. If I'm wrong, going to get absolutely rinsed. So as simple as that. And then what is my backup zone for AVAX if this starts losing levels now? Later on today or in the next hour leading into FOMC. If we get a bleed out, where's my next long? What is the next zone? Well, for me, it's 43.08. That is going to be the next reasonable area where I'm going to expect some kind of reaction on AVAX. So right now, I am long AVAX here. And let me show you what that looks like. Okay, that is essentially what you're looking at. If you're long here, it's about a 1.7% risk. You can maybe just push that a little bit lower, maybe go around 2.5, because there might be a stop hunt later. Look out for some kind of liquidity grab here later and then ascend higher. Remember, if they send you a bearish candle leading into this stuff, it could be a potential opportunity for you guys. So just manage your risk, manage your position size, manage your leverage. Don't be crazy. Okay, these are volatile conditions we are going into, and we are gambling from day to day, and obviously with an edge. But when you're doing this into FOMC, you're taking on a little bit more risk. So just understand what you guys are looking at here. And so AVAX, potential stop at around loss of 45 if we close under 45. But for now, I'm looking for a bounce and not getting too aggressive. What are my zones? Well, quite simply, our target will be 47 or 48. And then the next potential target is going to be around 49 for AVAX. So not trying to get too aggressive. You can see we do have a downtrend in play. And if we do send that higher, just look out at that trend. And then we could get some kind of rejection in that type of zone. So literal short-term bounce here. And that is what I've teed up here on WeX here at the moment. So you can see I've got a host of trades running here from these zones at the moment. And I'm going to talk about all of them with you. You can see I'm in AVAX, with CAS, 𝗟𝗓𝗡, and 𝗬𝗏 at the moment here on WeX. So trying to get things going here after quite a long choppy 24 hours. Okay, so let's get let's get into the next one. Okay, so that's AVAX. We have covered. Let's talk, current trades that are going on. 𝗬𝗎. Now, Piper tells me we might get a long on 𝗬𝗎. So I'm quite relieved because I've been adding a little bit to that 𝗬𝗎. It's now $53,000 plus $7,000. So it's a $60,000 long we got going. Pepe, I've re-entered Pepe, and I've got a buy zone lower down. I'm talking to you about that chart. 𝗙𝗥 is from last night. That was that long that I gave you guys yesterday, and that thing is still moving. It's pumped nicely. I know there's a whale bought $150,000 worth of this 𝗙𝗥 earlier today as well, so I can see a little bit of action there. Brett is bouncing off the zone. You can see my long and my short are pretty much equal now in P&L, and then AVAX still cooking, Sol's cooking, and I've got a hedge. 𝗟𝗓𝗡 short in this account. Okay, so this was a hedge play that I started building the other day. This is a $30,000 𝗟𝗓𝗡 short, just in case the wheels come off. There's a little bit of cover. You guys know I like to have a little bit of short cover in these types of scenarios. So let's talk Brett. Guys, I gave you this entry yesterday. Who took it? Who got it? Please let me know in the comments immediately. And until then, I'm removing.
Smash those likes, guys, and follow the rules, right? Like, we have like a system here. Step 1, watch the show daily, Monday through Friday. Step 2, follow the trades with some risk management. And number 3, make some money, buy a ledger, and join chart hackers.
There you go. He's got it all sorted out. Guys, let me know in the chats who took the Brett entry. This was an absolute banger. Even if you grabbed it for a scalp, for a starter play, I gave you guys this entry yesterday. Why was it interesting? 618, 50-day MA, horizontals, range lows here, absolute banger into our zone. The 153 is what we're looking at. So if you did grab this one, you now have a head start. Okay, so congratulations. If the market turns bullish, this affords you the luxury now of adding to this position. So if the market does start popping now later today, you can add to this Brett and keep pushing. If you did get the 153 entry, well, fuck me, you basically caught the bottom off a hot zone. So now you are risk-free, and you can put your stop at your entry at the 153 zone, that type of level, or alternatively, you got it just under this 50-day moving average. So hopefully some of you guys took it. Guys, let me know in the chats. I see you guys, there's a lot of people in the chats here, but there's no one talking Brett. Did you guys get koi on Brett? Oh, Sylvester got it. Okay, absolute banger. Guys, remember, a lot of these setups that I give you, they might not necessarily play out on that day. They might play out the next day. That is why I always say it's very important. Don't trade everything I give you. You're going to get completely overwhelmed. Pick your favorite tokens, pick the levels that make sense to you, and pick the high conviction ones. You can see which ones have the max conviction from me as well. And Brett was one of them for that reaction. So we've got the head start now. Let's see if it plays out. But remember, guys, always just pick your best and wait for them to play out. Mark the levels on your charts and just be chill. That's Zumba, bro. We South Africans will have to explain that to them in the most polite manner, what he is saying there. But he's basically saying he's hitting the likes aggressively. And Hazy got Brett. Okay, guys, this is good news. I need the feedback because sometimes I feel like I'm just talking into a cave and nobody's actually taking these trades. Okay, and there's comments for FTM. I've got FTM for you guys. Sonic launched and FTM sold off. So we're going to talk Phantom and what the story is in a couple of seconds. So, okay, Brett traders, you know the drill. If we break this trend, our target is going to be 17,175, and then we're looking at 185. Now, remember, if the wheels come off, what do we do? Okay, cool. Dylan says, grab a long at the zone. Cool, I got the long. Now it's popped. Great. But what happens if we get a reversal? Where's my backup level? And right now, we're just keeping it super simple here. Look at this wick. Okay, easy to come and fill this wick. Look out there. 618 play, macro 618, 135, 136. Look out for that zone. If the wheels come off, that is my next zone. 136 is where it's at on Brett for me. Okay, WIF, guys, this is it. This is your moment. 2.5 to 2.3. We've been talking about WIF for ages. And 2 days ago, I said to you, I want you to be prepped in case it wants to come to this level. Here we are. Macro trend, 200-day MA, monster VWAP from the absolute lows, 618 horizontals. Okay, 2.5 to 2.3 for WIF. Worth taking on a little bit of risk here. Okay, if you liked WIF at 2.9, okay, we were all trying to scalp it up there at 2.9, those types of things. Now we 2.5 to 2.3. If we keep our TA super simple here, rising trend, 200-day MA, VWAP, horizontals, this whole zone for me, spot trade. Guys, this is where you can look. This is your DCA zone. Here's a trade in the zone for you. Now, things get a little bit spicy. Yes, sir.
I concur. It looks super sexy. It looks sexier than a blonde chick.
It's dumping nicely, but I suspect we're going to get a bounce at some point. So remember the rules with these trends. If we start closing under this trend, it's going to be super bearish. Look at that. That's our 200-day MA. That's our VWAP from the lows. If we get a candle close under that, WIF is going 1.8, WIF is going 1.4. It's going to get disgusting. Okay, but don't forget, there will be bounce plays and aggressive bounce plays in between. We're going to get 15% moves. We're going to get 20% bounces on WIF all the way down if that happens. And right now, this block is the first region that I'm looking for some kind of swing bounce on WIF. So I'm just showing you the daily oscillator, not quite at the bottom, but you can see what happened the last couple of times this daily did hit the bottom. We did get some nice moves out of WIF. So now looking for something similar, we are close. Okay, we are very close on this daily to a reversal on WIF. Doesn't mean it can't dump another 5%, another 10%. So look out for that. That is on the table. Let's look at a couple of other time frames here. This is our 8-hour we're watching. And this 8-hour is getting heavily bottomed out. We know the 8-hour gives us a nice reversal as well. So that is nearly at the bottom there for us as well. Look out for that. Let's see our 4-hour. Okay, also nearly bottomed out. So we're just biding our time now. We're waiting patiently. So if you're interested in WIF, this is where you can start collecting some kind of position if you are looking for some kind of swing move. And very simple, we want to hold the rising trend. If we lose that, well, we're fucked. Okay, and we're cutting our positions. As simple as that. Here's the next one, PopCat. Now, you guys know I'm heavily loaded into PopCat. My liquidation is at 74, and I hope the market makers aren't listening to me at the moment. And right now, I'm looking for the bounce. So, in fact, I'm going to highlight my liquidation zone. That is where they literally ruin my day. Okay, 74, just under that 74 zone. It's not going to be a pleasant day for me, but I'll come on with a smile. But my liquidation is at 74. I've got more buys set for PopCat down here in this region. Anywhere in this zone, I'm going to add because there's nothing else I can do. Okay, I'm trying to build a conviction size on PopCat, but what we're doing right now, you can see I've got a 618, I've got horizontals, I've got my 200-day moving average, and this is the daily. Look how bottom this thing is. Nearly time for a reversal on the daily. I feel like we are getting super close for a swing reversal on PopCat. We are nearly there. And let's take a look at the 12-hour. Also very bottomed out. We can see that money flow is starting to turn. Look at that. That money flow is starting to point a little bit higher for us. So we do want to see that start moving aggressively. Let's take a look here. Our 8-hour, not quite there. Could be a little bit more time. And then our 4-hour, we do have multiple signs of reversals coming on the 4-hour. So things are looking interesting for PopCat. Now, it's difficult to call the exact bottom here because of the nature of the market and where we are right now. But for me, entry zones, spot traders essentially here, 96 to 91. Okay, nice little area here. If you want to start building a little position, don't get too hectic. Okay, keep it calm, keep it simple, but I'm looking for a bounce in that region. If this region fails, your next zone is going to be 81, and then, then they're going to come and end me at 74. Okay, so we'll have to see how that goes. And then upside targets for PopCat, we don't have to get too aggressive. We can just trade it 20%. We get that move to 1.17. Then our next play is going to be 1.37 is what we're going to be looking at. But remember, guys, uncanny. Okay, these head and shoulders, they don't lie. How many times do we see them and how many times do they play out? It's just a matter of time. And this PopCat on the daily, it's been screaming head and shoulders for a week or two now. And here we are. We finally faced with a moment where we are looking for this head and shoulders to finish playing out and then a possible reversal. So holding thumbs here, I'm squeaky bum time, sweating absolute bullets in my PopCat position. But we got to have conviction, and I'm adding more if it dips into those zones. Okay, so that is PopCat sorted out. And then Peppy, guys, this is my plan for Peppy. We are losing one of our big zones now, and my next big zone is 204 to 205 for Peppy. Now we're looking for a reversal play on that one. Look at this 4-hour heavily oversold here. I mean, it's flashing, it's screaming at me how oversold we are at the moment. So I am expecting a short-term reversal at some point. This is the 4-hour chart on Peppy, and right now you can see we are in our zone of interest here. That was always a long zone for me for Peppy, and we had a small reaction on this one. Look at that tiny little move, and now they are dumping it lower. So for me, I'm prepped and ready. 205, that is going to be my next zone of interest. And then look out for the wick onto this VWAP a little bit lower, 198. So 205 to 198, that is my next sort of swing zone for Peppy that I'm looking at. Now, hopefully these guys are kind to us and they don't absolutely rinse us. Remember, don't pick all of the trades, pick some of the trades. Okay, don't take everything here. And what if this market falls over? Just remember, you've got to be prepped in case they come and they absolutely capitulate things. Now, where can we get from this guy? I'm looking at about a 12% bounce from Pepe at 205 if they do drop it into that zone. So you're looking for about a 12%, look for that bang, and look for that move into trend, into VWAP, into horizontals there. Then once we blow through these types of zones, we can change our perspective. We can get more bullish. Until then, super cautious on some of these things. Reversal in play. Okay, let's go. Ponky spot trade for you guys. Now, I wrote on here spot trade. I'm expecting some kind of Ponky reversal at some point. This is Ponky on the daily. And let's see, we had a listing. There was lots of news on Ponky, and the market pumped this thing. Okay, and now we've dropped 54% from the highs. Again, doesn't mean it can't drop another 50%. But if we look at this from, just from a bigger perspective here on the daily, is it time for some kind of Ponky swing reversal? I would say we are getting there slowly. Look at this daily, heavily oversold. We're not printing massive reversals yet, but we are in a zone of interest here. So Ponky traders, if you are looking for a spot position, if you like Ponky up here at 56, well, maybe you're going to like it down here at 38. So Ponky, anything from 385 down to about 358. Looks like a nice bounce play here. Could be a nice spot position for you guys. The risk is about 6% to 7%, give or take. And remember the rules. You can see we got a nice rising trend. If we start closing under these types of levels, then we might turn a little bit bearish there for Ponky. So if we do get a bounce, I want to see a quick dip into the zone and then a nice push up very quickly on Ponky. We don't really want to close on a daily under these types of levels. Then it could get a little bit bearish for us. So if we get a wick later, look for a Ponky spot position, and upside target is going to be around 51, 52, those types of levels. Okay, let's keep going. Render. Piper, you've got Sui, and you've got a bit of render. Yes, you do. He's got render for us.
Yeah, I got a little bit of render. I want to point out something though on like your charts that you've been showing on the daily, bro. There is something that stood out on every single one of them for me on the daily, and that is the power bar, the trend power bar at the bottom of the oscillator. When you see that color change like that, that means that you've got a power. It's losing energy, right? And so you're looking at a red bar down there saying downtrend. When you get that power bar fires off like that, it tells you that that downtrend is weakening. It's about to end. And almost every single one of your dailies that you just looked at had that power bar losing energy. So that means the downtrend is just about done on everything that you just called longs on. Bravo.
So guys, hang in there. That's what we're saying. Hang in there. Don't rinse yourselves on 20x. Okay, just hang in there. There's a reversal coming where it might be another 5 or 10% wick on some of these.
I'm wrecked. 20x. I'm
getting rinsed.
I'm wrecked. I'm rinsed.
Are you getting rinsed, bro? Take it easy. Take it easy. Okay, let's talk render. So I'm looking at 2 AI plays. I've got some gaming tokens as well for you guys today. And I wanted to get Piper's views on render, because what I'm seeing here is render on the 4-hour looking for a reversal. Guys, I think we are in the zone here where we are going to get something on render. Look at this banger here. We've got multiple prints here. We got the magical blue dot. We got multiple reversal triangles as well. And this 4 hour is looking interesting to me. So in summary, what am I looking for on render? Anything from this 8.3 zone down to 7.9, that sort of block for me looks like a hot zone. So if they do give us a wick later, looking for that reaction there on render. So 8.3 down to 7.9, this block looks very cool to me. Looking for a small bounce again to trend, to VWAPs, to those types of things. Maybe 8.8. We can squeeze out a 10% move somewhere around that on render. Piper, what are you looking at there?
So yeah, looking at render, what I'm seeing right now, we do have the 3D trend that's been giving us, beautiful rejections all the way down. We've been riding the bottom of the 3D trend here pretty clean, but I do have some fibs that are giving some really good support levels that I'm watching. And one of them is going to be right down here, about 7. If I throw this on, I got a little support box here. Let's throw that on. That one's going to be coming in right now at about 7.99, about $8 range, as far down as 7.62. Why I have that for is because we have the wicks over here, so you could have the market makers come down there, grab some liquidity off of this before it bounces up. But that's also the 0.5 fib. These fibs are pulled from the top that we had back here on 22 May. all the way down at the bottom here in August. And so if you look at what we have here, we do have the 50%. A lot of times when you have price action come down and hit the 50% mark, that is, and gets a bounce, that's a very bullish thing because it's retesting 50% of that entire move is what it's doing, right? So I'm watching that zone right there. I think Render's setting up really nicely right now for a good setup. And again, like you said, on the 4 hour, we do have the peak seeker that has printed here on the oscillator. If we bring this into focus here, you'll see that there is a little bit of a turn up on the money flow. So money flow starting to come back in. We do have the volume slowing down, but that could also mean that the selling pressure is starting to weaken. The bears are tired, right? So yeah, I'm watching closely to see if we get those plays to play out here. That would be the range that I'm watching, like 799 down to about 762. Anywhere in there, you're going to be set up prime for another move to the upside, because overall you do have a very solid sideways area here of consolidation. But one thing I would point out and be careful about is if we lose that level, you do have a little bit of a head and shoulders coming in here. So be very aware. Be very aware. Caution.
Yeah. So guys, we're seeing these patterns all over the place, and I mean, Popcat was maybe a leader. Showing us that head and shoulders. We saw loads of others start playing out, but you know, Piper's got a very good point here. There is technically a head and shoulders here sitting on render at the moment. Look at that. It's not a good look at the moment here. So if we do get a short-term bounce, guys, that is why I'm saying we're looking at about a 10% move on render. We can play the short-term bounces all day long, as long as we're understanding our bigger picture and where these things can go to. And then you can use simple stuff. You can look at the daily oscillator as well, and you can see that's not quite there at the lows. You can see this thing wants to push a bit lower, and the problem with the daily is that it takes time. It could take a week or two for it to give us this type of double bottom, this type of divergence, something like that. It could be a lot of time playing out here on some of these things. So I don't want to, I don't want to turn you guys into uber bulls here. I don't want to turn you into super bears just yet, but I just want you to be realistic with your expectations here as to what could be playing out over the next while. Okay, so render, you've got a short-term degen play set up for you. We've got so much content, guys. This show is going to run long. Okay, I've got another like 5 or 6 charts for you guys. We're going to have to fire it up. So just be patient, guys. The stuff's coming in hot for you. Okay, so hang in there. Let's go 𝗬𝗧. This was another one for me. Very interesting. AI play, just like render. Maybe, a little bit of divergence here on the 8 hour printing divergence. What is this divergence? Well, you can see we've got our price moving lower. So our price action is turning down, but our oscillator is turning higher. That is giving us a clue. Maybe there's going to be some kind of a move on 𝗬𝗧. So that is why I'm interested. Here's the power bar as well. And you can see things are trying to turn higher now on this oscillator. So something to keep your eyes on. Again, guys, remember these setups, don't take all of them. Okay, pick 1 or 2 of your best that are going to work. But you can see 𝗬𝗧 is one of those that are interesting. You can see I've got a trend as well in this region. So I've got a little bit of backup here. I've got a major VWAP. Look at this VWAP. This is the VWAP from the dump on the 5th of August. That's our absolute lows VWAP. You can see how this VWAP has acted as support over time. Look at that. And we are now sitting on that VWAP. So that is interesting to me on 𝗬𝗧. Then we've got 382. Then we got horizontals. Then we've got divergence on the 8 hour oscillator. So the signs are there. We may get a reversal. And when I say 8 hour reversal, it could take a little bit of time. We could get a dip first as well. But what I want to tell you guys, 522 down to about, say, 500, that type of level there. So something like this, these types of zones, looking for a short-term bounce there on 𝗬𝗧. So 520 to 500, somewhere in that region. If they do give us a quick wick later on, then we are looking for a bounce. And then we're not going to get too aggressive with our targets. We're just going to keep it super simple here. We're going to take fibs from the highs to the lows, and we just want to mark out some reasonable targets if we do get a bounce. And your targets then are going to be 599, 650. 599, 650. Those are your potential bounce targets on 𝗬𝗧, and then not expecting new highs. Things are looking a little bit bearish still from that front. So watching that. Now, we're going to jump into a couple of gaming tokens. I haven't spoken about them much, but we're going to cover a few. And I've also got Moonray, and I've got super chats for you guys. So First gaming play we haven't looked at in ages, 𝗙𝗓𝗟. Okay, simple game plan here. Where can you long 𝗙𝗓𝗟? For me on the daily, 0.04. Okay, we keep it super simple, 0.04 on 𝗙𝗓𝗟. Why is that interesting? VWAP from the lows, 5th of November. We've got horizontals, we've got our 0.5. We also fill that entire dump wick. So if you're looking for some action on 𝗙𝗓𝗟, there's, for me, I think there's a long at 0.4, 0.04. Looking for something like that. You can probably keep around a 3 to 5% stop, give or take, in that zone. And then you're not looking for new highs. You're looking for a lower high. So you're looking at about a 20% move on 𝗙𝗓𝗟. So keep it super simple, 0.04. That's the play for me. Okay, very simple game plan here. Look for the bounce. Okay, it's going to be naturally an area where you do look for a bounce. Look at that support. Lots of that going on there. And then if we do get that bounce, most likely a short opportunity in that zone for us on 𝗙𝗓𝗟. So we'll have to let that play out. But your target is going to be 0.048 as a potential move there on 𝗙𝗓𝗟. Okay, and then Beam, also nice pumper. We know Beam, there's a lot of bullish things behind Beam. AVAX gaming play as well. And what can we look at? 0.029. This is Beam on the weekly for me. And you can see this is a major weekly horizontal level. And you can see the last time we hit this level, we had an absolute rocket ship off it. So I expect another tap on the zone. And I'm expecting some kind of bounce, even if it's a short-term bounce on Beam. I am expecting a move there. So 0.029 down to 0.0277 on Beam. Look for a reaction there. And remember, overall, bigger picture, look at that weekly, heavily overbought. This weekly is screaming at us, telling us it wants to turn down. So what can that look like for me? Something like that, little push up, and then we might just make our way down before we ultimately get our next bullish leg. So that is something you need to consider. That has to be on the table for you guys. So Beam, that is that one. Then another one, Moonray. Who remembers this Moonray? This thing finally got launched, and Moonray is at $117 million market cap. Animoca brands are behind this thing, and this has been years in the making, this Moonray situation. So if you want to follow them, they've just launched now. Where did they go? Mexi, Gate, KuCoin, Bybit. It's all official now. It is out and it is cooking. And just follow them here. They got a massive community as well, 173,000, and coming to PS5. Okay, so things are looking pretty bullish there from that front. And let's take a look at the chart. So we can see it's just come live. This is the 5-minute chart, so nothing too exciting here at the moment. But if you're into gaming, I think Moonray could be an absolute banger play for you guys. So tracking this one, 5-minute chart, we don't have much information. Okay, so if you are trying to trade this thing, just be careful, let it play out. Let's build some structure over the next couple of days, and then when I cover some gaming tokens in a week or two, we're going to cover some more of this Moonray as well. And then there's another one floating around that I got my eyes on, the Super Champs, and I'm sure you guys have heard about this one as well from Elio, and big fan of this project. Look, $96 million market cap. We only available on Aerodrome. We're only available on some of these DEXs at the moment, so they are not on exchanges yet, but also something to pay attention to here. Super Champs right now, market cap $96 million. Might be a gaming token to watch. Okay, so we're going to leave that one there. And then here's their Twitter. I mean, there's their Twitter or their X following, 413,000 followers. So quite a big community here for Super Champs. Check it out. The gameplay looks relatively interesting here. Look at that. Look at these characters here that they got going on. So a lot happening here on Super Champs as well for you guys. Now, I'm seeing messages coming through telling us that we're going to get rinsed. Guys, are we going to get rinsed? What is James saying? Tell me, how did he do it? Man who killed Soul. They're going to end show after this. I'm getting rinsed on near. Guys, are we getting rinsed yet? Are we getting rinsed? Fuck me. Ray, are we getting rinsed? Okay, not so bad. It's not nice seeing red P&Ls everywhere, but we can see we're under a bit of pressure here at the moment. Okay, so let it carry on. Now, anybody getting rinsed?
Bitcoin's still holding. So
is Bitcoin holding? Why is everyone saying they're getting rinsed? Bitcoin looks good.
Yeah.
Guys, don't panic. Don't panic. Here's our dominance. Guys, this is what we want. We want this dominance push here. Look for that rejection. Then I think we're okay. Then I really think we're okay. Okay, Phantom, you guys know what happened. Phantom moved to Sonic. So things are changing here from Phantom's perspective. And you can now bridge your tokens, as you know, to S. So Phantom is now changing. And then we had a sell the news situation. So we were saying yesterday, there's two sides of the fence here. You know, Phantom's been holding so well for the last few months. And was this going to be the beginning of a move, or was it going to be a sell the news situation? As it turned out, you know, no surprises here. The news came out, the mainnet got launched, and bang, they dumped Phantom. Okay, so what I would suggest here now, there's going to be a shift in Phantom to Sonic. There might be a couple of changes here. You're obviously going to see a lot of people selling out of Phantom potentially because they don't want to bridge or whatever the story is. So I would say most likely sell pressure on Phantom, okay, for a while. So all I can say is be careful. Okay, that's all I want to say. There's no new trade for me on Phantom now after that news. And you can see this thing is drifting lower. So Phantom traders, just play it safe. You can see oscillators telling us things are bottoming out. There might be moves, but remember what happened with Render. Render got absolutely abused when they switched to Sol, and nobody wanted to hold Render, and they were selling, sell pressure everywhere. And maybe that is going to happen now with Phantom while everything resettles and rejigs itself. So all I can say is just be careful on Phantom. If you want an actual bounce zone, it's 1.16 that I'm watching at the moment. But for me, I'm not going to try and trade this thing just yet. I want to see how this thing settles. But yes, potential reversals on the 1 hour on Phantom. Just play it safe. 1.16 is a potential zone for you. Then XRP, it's hit my zone. Okay, so I gave the zone to chart hackers earlier today, and it's hit my zone. So I've taken a long on XRP using Bitfunded. Now remember, guys, Bitfunded is a prop funded trading account. Basically, what happens is they give you a demo account, and you can buy a $5,000 account or a $10,000 account or even more. If you want to, you send them $79 or $100. Then you get 8%, you get 5%. Then they give you real money. And you keep the real money. You keep the profits, 80 to 90% of those profits. So right now you can see this is my Bitfunded demo account, and I longed XRP in my hot zone, and I've longed ENS as well. That was a trend break on the 15 minutes. Now, obviously trying to tee up into some kind of bullish move. So remember, guys, everything I talk about is sitting. Yes, sir.
Bullhorn.
What are we bulling? What are we bulling?
It's pumping. Bitcoin's pumping. Some things are pumping.
Oh, okay. Well, that's nice. Guys, everything I'm talking about here is in the show description for you. So just go under the show description. Everything from my trading exchanges, Prime XBT to chart hackers is here. 𝗬𝗥𝗢𝗥. There's information about Bitfunded here for you guys as well. Just go onto Bitfunded, click Bitfunded, join the challenge, do the challenge, 8%, 5%, then you are cooking with other people's money. So very simple play for Bitfunded. Remember, everything is under the show description. And don't forget, Prime XBT, my favorite Bitcoin scalping platform, is rocking and ready to go. And there is no KYC on this one as well on Prime XBT. And Ray, I'm so pissed off. I've missed both of these longs here. That one and that one. I mean, someone's killing me here. Looking for... It's killing me, bro.
Join the scalp session, sir. Just chart hackers scalp session.
Long Bitcoin here, bro. Maybe it's long Bitcoin here. Maybe it could be something happening. Okay. Okay. So XRP, guys, let's talk XRP. Why was this interesting to me? So simple short-term bounce I was looking for here. 2.4, 2.41. That is VWAP from the lows. That is 382. That is trend. That is horizontal zone of interest for me. So that is why I've tried a long. We can also see we're getting a double bottom on our 1 hour oscillator. So I am looking for a short-term reversal on XRP. If that zone fails, what is the next play? Well, if that zone fails, you sit back, you stop, and you wait. Okay, 2.21, that is going to be the next zone. 2.21 looks like the next zone of interest for me. I've got quite a big VWAP in that area, and I've got our 618 and horizontals as well. So if we bleed into that zone, that is the next trade. 2.21, 2.22 on XRP. Okay, so simple game plan here. 2.41, look for the bounce. 2.22, look for the next bounce in case they start bleeding us a little bit lower down. Okay, DreamWorks says Brett is pumping. I concur. Let's see where we are with Brett. Where's this Brett? Where's this banger? Have I lost my Brett? Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's not quite pumping, but we're good. Okay, Brett, we're good. Okay, Piper. Talk to me about Sui, bro. Help me.
All right. So check it out, man. So I want to feed people very small bites of this to show them why we're so bullish on Sui right now. Looking at my chart here. You got that up? Yeah.
There we go.
All right, there we go. So I'm looking at trend-based fib extensions. To pull a trend-based fib, you have to have 3 points, and you're looking at a trend, right? So a higher low or a lower high. This one we had a higher low, and that's the 3 circles I have here. That's the dashed lines are how I pulled these. I just want to explain that to people so that they can understand why I'm so bullish on SWE right now. So that creates fib levels off of those 3 points, right? And you can see here, we got a beautiful bounce on the golden pocket. That's the 0.618 there. Got a nice bounce on that. But if I go in and I say, okay, we're only going to focus on this platinum pocket and this golden pocket. Let's take all these other ones off here, and I'm going to simplify this for everybody so that that's all you have to focus on. We're going to go to only pockets, and here we go. This is all we're going to look at on the extensions here. This is the phase 1 of the extensions. We go into the next one, and you can see here we got another rejection off the platinum pocket. We did play some down here where this went into like the 50%, so on and so forth. But right now, we got to bounce on that off of the golden pocket again. Let's look at where we currently are right now and just take a look at this, and you'll see we've got some obvious levels of support in here, but this is going to be our next goal because we keep breaking extensions of these fibs, right? So if we go back in now and put this back on the detailed version so you can see all of the levels that are in there, we're getting all of our stuff right now off of the 0.236, which is another extension of it. So it's 2.236. And we're getting a lot of bounces here. We've got a lot of resistance here. But when we start to go in and look at what does the chart prime indicators tell us, what is the oscillator telling us, it's giving us some indication that we're setting up to do another upside move. We can see here that the volume is still green. The money flow is turning green. We're getting a turn up on the oscillator ribbon here. We're looking like we're building up off of a foundation of that 236 there. So seeing what I'm seeing here on SWE, bringing this in, I would say that based on what we're seeing for the bullishness of the levels there, the fixed range volume profile coming in here, we've left that far behind. Take that off, look at the market oracle. We'll see that all of our support levels are sitting way below us, very sharp angle up. That gives you an indication of the trend continuation. And then lastly, if we go in and check out the 3D trend here, I would say that right now, we are way more likely to go up and get our first rejection up here on the golden pocket, which is going to be about $5.21, $5.26. long before we ever come back to this window of the dynamic reactor, the quantum reactor, and this trend. I think this is just going to continue up with the trend. Our dynamic reactor is going to continue up. And when we do finally get up to that golden pocket, guys, I think that SWE, that is when you're going to have the price come up, over time. Obviously, it's not a straight line, as Dylan has told you. But eventually, this is all going to be lining up to where it's just a very short drop again and then continues up even more. If we look at this on higher time frames and we take off all of these brush marks here, let's clean all this up and let's hide those fibs. You'll see that overall on the daily, this is a very bullish looking price structure. So when Dylan hit me up earlier and said, what's going on with SWE? Please tell me my trade's good. And I showed him this stuff. Guys, I think SWE is one of the most bullish looking charts out there. Even when we look at this on the daily, I just turned on the Market Dynamics Pro. Even if we did come back down to this previous wick area, we have a fair value gap that the Market Dynamics Pro has put on here for us. SWE looking for upside moves on any support level I can get. So on lower time frames here, if we go into a lower time frame and just look, I would say if we get another retest, if you get lucky enough for another retest here of this 236 here, this 2.236, and I'm gonna give you that price level, that is going to be $4.52. If that happens and you get that, I think that is going to be a prime level up to that golden pocket. Let me go ahead and extend that up there. Let's just see what this would be. We're going to go a little bit below back here just in case of liquidity, but that's going to give you a very easy 2.82 to 1 risk to reward, which is pretty close to my 3 to 1 that I look for. But overall in movement, guys, you're looking at a 15.5% move on that. SWE looking very strong.
Okay, absolute banger. And I like the way he says it. He doesn't say SWE, he says SWE. Okay, and anyone who says SWE, I mean, you got to like that. You got to appreciate that. Okay, so guys, just to cover where we are and what I was looking for. So I'm obviously still in the SWE or SWE position, but Okay, what did we have? I was looking for that inverse head and shoulders. We got that ping on the 618 yesterday, but what did they do? They sold us back down. So just, I love these targets that Piper's just giving us. And obviously, naturally, I want to see this thing remain bullish. I wanted this inverse head and shoulders. Can we call this the right shoulder? Potentially. Okay, we can call that. What did we have here? Look at that. Quantum reactor, anchored VWAP, 786, trend and horizontal. So I suppose, to be fair, that was going to be a banger zone. We had 4 levels of confluence here on SUI at these zones, which we can use, just like Piper says, you can use that as support there in those types of regions. So 4.5, those types of levels looking decent for us. And we do have the oscillator starting to turn higher. Okay, we got pretty bullish here on the 1 hour. Let's see if this thing can continue. But again, guys, reminder, if you're scalping SUI and you're not looking for a longer term play, well, danger for you up here. 4.9, that's a potential short zone. And then that higher region just above 5 is also a potential SUI short zone there. So just be careful up there at those levels. I see James likes the SUI versus Sol. I agree. People are moving from Sol. They're starting to push SUI. And what is Belcher shouting at us? Popcat. We did cover a little bit of Popcat for you guys earlier. And that's in the zone, guys. We are in the bounce zone. I did cover that at the start of the show. So just make sure you guys are playing things safe. Okay, there was one question about FOG, and we were trading that one. Yesterday. So let's see where this FOG is here at the moment. Where's my FOG? Oh, here's FOG. Okay, so I gave you guys this one yesterday. Multiple reasons why it was looking interesting, but you can see we printed divergence now on the 8-hour oscillator as well. Our money flow is starting to turn positive. So that is looking a little bit more interesting to me. And we know there was a big whale buying FOG as well, and looking like a bounce zone. So FOG key support 257. Use that as your lows now. 257. Looking for it to grind higher. Remember, high leverage on these things. Danger, danger, danger. That small move you see on your chart is 43%. Okay, so don't get caught up in majorly high leverage on these types of meme coins. That tiny move there, 43%. To our 50-day moving average. So you can see I'm sitting in that FOG at the moment. Took that one yesterday. You can see I don't play crazy shit with this stuff. It's a small position looking for a big move. Look at that tiny little position on FOG, and it's $800 up now. And again, don't over risk yourselves. You know what I mean? Don't overdo it. Okay, Sui's cooking. Pepe's starting to bounce a little bit. Okay, so guys, Piper, thank you, Captain. If you want some more of this man, okay, he sits in Chart Hackers. He's part of the Chart Prime team. He is there, and he does a Zoom session on a Friday as well. Is that correct? Friday, what time?
That is at, well, let's see here. On my time, it's 1 p.m. I'm in Mountain Standard Time. So that's 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There you go, New York time.
3 p.m. Eastern Standard. There's a Zoom with this guy, okay? And he talks about all these volume profiles, all these fancy things as well, including the Chart Prime stuff. Captain, thank you for hanging. We'll see you in Chart Hackers. Guys, remember, everything is under the show description. If you want to be part of Chart Hackers, come join us, okay? I'm jumping on with Run on the live FOMC show. It's going to be in about 2 hours on Crypto Live, but we're going to get Ray to do a scalp session in Hackers. There's not a fuck hackers are going to miss an opportunity to scalp the FOMC. So I'm going to get Ray to fire up a channel in there in Chart Hackers later today. He's going to scalp the shit out of the FOMC. Okay, Ray, you got it, bro. You're in.
I guess so. The boss said so. The chief has spoken.
So scalping session if you want. Okay, go get Ray in Chart Hackers. He'll scalp you till your heart's content. Okay, guys, good luck. Big volatility coming. I think the sell-off was bullish for us. I suspect we get a bounce. If not, guys, remember the story. Next levels. And also, you are not over-leveraged. Okay, you are disciplined. You have stop losses in place. You are not absolute degens, even though we like to pretend we degens, we civilized degens. Okay, so keep your shit together. Volatile session ahead. Okay, good luck, guys. See you tomorrow.
I'm used to scalping your heart.